The Intimidator 305 situation is starting to get really interesting. We're getting new information and rumors regarding this whole project, and a lot of these details really start to make you wonder about the future of this coaster. This should be a fun one, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, let's get started. Before we get to the whole I-305 situation, Project 305, all that stuff, let's first talk about Kennywood's very problematic roller coaster, Steel Curtain. Steel Curtain has had a ton of issues since it opened up at Kennywood back in 2019. And while it was named the best new roller coaster of 2019, it has had some significant downtime. Probably because it's themed to the Steelers. Go Bengals, even though they just got cooked by the Ravens. But that's besides the point. Steel Curtain has had multiple closures since it has opened. And in April of this year, Kennywood announced they would be closing down Steel Curtain for the remainder of the season to conduct a, quote, extensive modification project. And they were going to be focusing on, quote, reliability and longevity. Basically, Kennywood wants to make sure that this coaster is able to operate consistently on a daily basis, and that this coaster will be able to last them another, hopefully, 10, 20, 30 years. But anyway, Kennywood just announced that they are now working on Steel Curtain, and that they're going to be adding some additional support structures to help, I guess, support the coaster better. And hopefully allow it to operate more consistently and be more reliable and last longer. And it sounds like they're still planning to open this up in 2025. Hopefully all of this goes according to plan and Steel Curtain is able to reopen. Hopefully with less random problems too. Heading on over to Worlds of Fun. Their maintenance workers are now going on strike. Now, I'm not going to take sides on who's right and who's wrong and all of this, but basically what happened is they were trying to work out a new, labor contract or whatever, and they couldn't really get anything done. So, long story short, their union or whatever decided to go on strike, which means these next few weeks at Worlds of Fun could be very interesting. Hopefully both sides get this all sorted out so that we don't have any maintenance problems or delays in openings or whatever, and so that Worlds of Fun can get all their off-season maintenance done on their coasters. And yeah, hopefully both sides are able to figure out something that works for both parties, and this can all get resolved. Next up, we're going to head up to Great Adventure to discuss Kingda Ka. So not too long ago, we had some rumors floating around that Six Flags was planning on closing Kingda Ka. Now, these rumors sound pretty crazy, and they kind of are. Because when you think about it, why would Six Flags Great Adventure get rid of and remove their biggest marketing pool, their biggest pool of people to the park? There are a ton of people who go to Great Adventure just to ride Kingda Ka, and it would seem very silly to remove it. And also removing it would get rid of the almost marketing phrase tallest roller coaster in the world. Losing that is pretty significant. And I think that Great Adventure would never choose to do this unless there was something seriously wrong with the coaster, which from what I've heard, it sounds like nothing going on. Now, is Cedar Fair / Six Flags combined into one company? Are they kind of starting to think about, does this need to be modified similar to Top Thrill 2? Yes, they could definitely be thinking about that. That is definitely a possibility. Or are they considering changing the launch systems or trains or something specifically like that? Yes, that could very well be happening. But do I think this coaster is going to be removed? Absolutely not. I agree with most of the people who said this was just a silly rumor, this isn't going to happen, and I would definitely agree with that. It doesn't make sense. Now, could this be modified in the future by Six Flags? Yes, there's definitely the possibility. I'd say there's a fair chance within the next decade or two that some modification will have to happen. But I think we can all rest assured knowing that Kingda Ka should be safe for many years to come. Alright, now let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's talk about I-305. So we know what the deal, the whole Intimidator name branding deal or whatever, ran out earlier this year. Kings Dominion decided to rename Intimidator 305 to Project 305. This was definitely an interesting name because it kind of started hint that something was going to change about this coaster in the future. And they changed the name, we all speculated on what was going to happen, I even made a video about it. But then we didn't really hear anything for quite some time the rest of the year. King's Dominions pretty much stayed silent about this whole Project 305 thing since they announced it. But now we're finally starting to get our first couple details about what's going to be happening to this coaster. Of course, along with some rumors. So this all started when King's Dominion began painting the area of the brake run for this coaster. They started painting the supports navy, and the track orange. And you're not just going to randomly change the color scheme of a coaster like that and not tell anyone about this. This has to mean King's Dominion is doing something. Alright, so what does this tell us? Well, it means that the new color scheme for this coaster is most likely, unless anything changes, going to be navy and orange. Which, honestly, I don't think would look that bad. I think it would actually look pretty cool. Yes, it's like orange and yellow supports. It's so pretty iconic for this coaster. But I still feel like the navy and the orange would look just better, I think. I think especially if they pick, like, a good color of orange track, if you know what I mean. Like, a color that looks good on the track. This could actually end up being a pretty sick color scheme. But then things got even more interesting when yesterday King's Dominion posted something very, very interesting. I know I keep saying interesting, but we're going to roll with it. So King's Dominion posted this picture, and it's a greystone with the name Project 305, with an X above it. Well, hold on, we'll get back to that. And then it shows February 27, 2024, which is when the whole Intimidator thing, it transitioned to Project 305, to November 5th, which is the last day that this coaster will officially be operating under Project 305. And then it says, Project Completed. Well, what does Project Completed mean? I'm guessing it's like the transition from I-305 to whatever they theme it to now. That's not what I'm assuming the project completed part of that means. But again, we don't know. But now let's talk about the X above Project 305. What I think, and I think a majority of people would agree, is that Project 305 is going to be tied into the Jungle Expedition part of the park. Because I-305 was in a very weird spot. It was in the back of the park. And then you have Jungle Expedition, which is a super highly themed, like, immersive area that looks amazing. And then you have three rides that are just kind of clumped together with no really cohesive theme. You've got Backlot Stunt Coaster themed to like a police chase and everything. And then you have Flight of Fear themed to aliens and paranormal stuff. And then you've got I-305 themed to race cars. There just wasn't a cohesive theme. It was almost like it was a very random section of the park. And so what I think, and again, I think a lot of people have said this and would agree with this, I think they're going to expand Jungle Expedition back to those three rides. Retheme Backlot Stunt Coaster to some, like, Jungle Expedition type theme, like a Jungle Journey or something like that. And then retheme Flight of Fear to, like, like a dinosaur, like, indoor testing facility, something along those lines or whatever. And then theme Project 305 to something that have to do with Jungle Expedition. Whether that be like, geez, I don't really even know what they would theme it to, jungle-wise necessarily. But I still feel like they'll find a way to tie it into Jungle Expedition. I'm sure some like blatantly obvious good theme for this I'm probably missing. But I still feel like it would be the logical move for King's Dominion to tie this into Jungle Expedition. Just make Jungle Expedition your like headlining best area of the park. So if you add those three rides in and like theme them well, like if you do this Project 305, this Jungle Expedition 305 thing, whatever, if you do it and theme it really well, it's just going to make the experience better. Cause like I-305 didn't really have like actual theming. I mean, there's like some race car theming, but I wouldn't call it actual theming. But if you're able to add like jungle theming and like jungle music in the background while you're waiting in the queue, that could make for a really cool experience. So that's what I personally think King's Dominion is going to do with this. And now one like rumor I've heard is that they might try to tie it in with like X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now it's not a bad idea, but when you kind of think about it, it would be a little silly. Like, why would you tie in two coasters literally on two opposite sides of a country? I don't think it really makes sense, and I don't feel like there's really like a real theme X2 has. It just has its name. So I feel like that it could be a cool concept, but I highly doubt that's going to be really considered or going to be happening. Of course, if you do want to stay up to date on all the latest news and rumors regarding Project 305 and what they're going to be doing with this, then make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any future update. I'm super excited to see what King's Dominion ends up doing with this, and hopefully it's a really cool Jungle Expedition theme. Oh, and if you want to know why Cedar Fair doesn't like Intamin so much, then check out the video on your screen right now. It's super cool, and I-305 has a lot to do with it. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below, subscribe for more coaster content coming your way, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.